Alright, it's a new stream now, I guess. I was streaming for a little bit there. I'm probably going to delete that stream and start over. Because... slash time. Hello. Time. Set. Day. Alright. Because that one was interrupted, and that will feel really choppy to have a 5-minute stream and then another stream where I finish talking. So I'm gonna have to recover everything I covered in that one, and yeah. So hello everybody, welcome to kind of a Minecraft video, not really, and boy, my building skills are rusty. Yeah, ooh, this is bad. But we're not really here for Minecraft today, frankly. Today we're kind of just talking about the future of this channel and what I've been doing, what I plan on doing, stuff like that. And so, yeah, what the future of this channel, the future of me. So yeah, I'll kind of start off with a little bit of like a checklist, I guess, because that will be easier than what I started with last time. So the first thing is the pastoral. I'm not used to Bedrock's thing. So I am currently studying to become a pastor. I finished my studies, and I'm now doing an internship for my pastoral. I want to say degree, but it's not technically a degree. But I've completed my studies. I've got a certificate for it, and no, it's not one of those silly online. Oh, you're ordained. You can wed people now. No, this was an actual pastoral course to be a pastor for a job. So that's kind of what I've been doing for the past 2-3 years. To a large degree. So yeah, that's one thing I've been doing. I've also been writing a book. Which the rough draft is done, second draft is done, but when I went and did the second draft, I did realize I do need to add another chapter in, because there's a section where I feel like I kind of go over things a bit too quickly. It needs a little bit more depth. I need to explain a bit more and give a little bit more time for the protagonist to develop in certain ways. So I'm adding in another chapter yet. I do want to get a Kickstarter for that started, but that's a whole nother matter, which we'll discuss in a minute. I do want to get the general ideas for kind of what I'm talking about here discussed first. Then we also have YouTube. What do I do for YouTube? This kind of looks like a play button. I'll just put that on like a beehive with a glowing item frame. I don't know. So yeah, if we just, there we go. So YouTube, we'll be discussing what I'm doing with YouTube and the YouTube channel. So yeah, I think these are 3 main things. Is there anything else I wanted to discuss? My pastoral, my book, my YouTube. Updates, what I'm doing. No, I guess that's it. So first off, pastoral. So yeah, I've been studying for the past 3 years to become a pastor. I don't think it's any secret on this channel that I'm Christian and I like to talk about God. I'm also a bit of a nerd. I think I also have in my trailer a future pastor even. Yeah, so I've been studying to become a pastor. I am working on I'm starting to intern at my church a little bit under my pastor. So that's kind of the next step for me as far as that's concerned. That mostly doesn't concern you guys, but it is something I'm doing, and that will be a little bit of a time eater as far as anything that does concern you guys, which is the other two things. I will say it will definitely affect the way I run this YouTube channel, as well as when I'm writing books, just because pastors are called to be of a higher sense of accountability, which means if I'm out there playing horror games, then it's not that there's anything wrong with playing a horror game necessarily, but if someone who shouldn't be playing a horror game starts playing it because they saw me playing it, well, because I'm looking at being a pastor, there's a higher sense of accountability for me there for being a bad example. So you're probably not really going to see me playing horror games or anything like that. So that's something just to bear in mind, that, yeah, it will affect the way that I run this YouTube channel. But yeah, that's pretty light subject as far as talking to you guys about it. The next thing is my book. So I've been writing a book for a little while now. I told you guys that the rough draft is done. I've done my second draft. I do need a professional editor. I'm working on adding another chapter in. I do need a professional editor, and I cannot afford one. So I am planning on taking my book to Kickstarter. I do have an illustrator who has basically said just, whatever 10% of the profits is, that's what he's willing to take. So that's kind of what I'm going with there. I have some really cool art from him already for the book, which is so great. I love the old oil painting sort of art that you have in older books, so don't expect this really fancy modern stuff, because I'm just not a fan of that, frankly. I'm not a fan of the modern art you see on book covers. I find it to be boring, so I asked him to do something pretty different. I asked him to do watercolors for me, actually. So sort of like an old, I want to say almost 60s era watercolor cartoon style sort of thing. Maybe 70s. 1973 was when Tolkien died. So yeah, 60s, 70s era, I would put it. For watercolors, and I think he has done a fantastic job giving me what I asked for. Definitely, it's a two-taste sort of thing on the art. Some of you are going to love it, and some of you are going to be like, oh, well, that's really old and outdated. Why would I want that? Dude, it's preference, but I love the art on it, and that's really all that matters. But he is an excellent artist. He does a lot of different things. I've given him a specific style to work within, and he has delivered, and it is awesome. And yeah, I'm going to feature a little bit of the art on the Kickstarter, but I don't want to give everything away, because there are spoilers in some of the art. In fact, my favorite art piece from it is an absolutely massive spoiler. But, we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, Kickstarter. So, for Kickstarter, to my understanding, if I want to have it linked to a business, I need that business to exist prior to hooking it up to Kickstarter, which means I need to declare myself a business for making my Kickstarter. Otherwise, my Kickstarter will just be going to me, and then I've got to put that money to my company, especially since I want to run as a LLC. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. So, you know, that's going to take time. I got to figure all that out. But, you know, that's the big things for my book right now. As far as what my book is kind of about, to give you guys an idea, it is essentially the redemption story of an evil ruler. I keep telling people evil king. That's not quite accurate. Evil ruler is more accurate. Somewhat evil out of ignorance, but it's willful ignorance. And so it's a redemption story for him. It's a Christian fantasy story. You know, you've got dragons and stuff in there. The dragons and fairies in the story are largely representative of demons, whereas like goblins are kind of like an undead sort of thing. It's got a lot of complicated and interesting lore, but ultimately the messages are going to be overwhelmingly Christian. But, you know, it's also just a fun fantasy world, so you don't have to be Christian to enjoy it. But you'll definitely enjoy seeing those Christian messages in there if you are Christian and you're looking to get something for like a teenager in your house or something that reads fantasy, and it's like, oh, all the fantasy stuff out there has all these worldly messages. Well, this is for Christians, right? So, or at the very least, it's by a Christian who's looking to give entertainment for Christians. I might not succeed in every aspect, but yeah, I'm trying, and it does go to some dark places. So it's not like other Christian material where it's like, okay, well, we're going to avoid heavy and dark topics because we're Christian, when the Bible goes into some pretty heavy and dark topics. We're going into heavy and dark topics in the books, but it never makes it look like, oh, this evil thing is good. Like that's not my intent at all in writing. I don't want to make evil look like it's good, but I do want to address that there is a lot of evil in the world, and that's biblical. Like so often when I look at a Christian fiction story, they just kind of want to ignore that people are evil, which is weird to me, because that's kind of a key ingredient in Christianity, is that we're evil and don't deserve a savior, but we have one anyways because Jesus decided to save us from our sins. So if we're not addressing the sheer amount of evil that's in the world, and how deep and how evil things are, I don't think we're doing justice to it. Now, I'm not, again, this isn't a kid's book, right? This is more for teenagers and stuff like that. But I do go into some like darker topics, and I think that that's a good thing, because I'm, again, not addressing the darker topics as, oh, this is a good thing that this is happening. It's just like, oh, this exists, and as Christians, yeah, some of this can be pretty difficult to deal with at times, but we've got it, right? Like, we've got to keep our faith in Christ. And of course, like I said, this guy, the main protagonist, it's his redemption story, so he doesn't actually become Christian right away. It takes a good portion of the story. I want to say like a bit over half. Again, with certain chapter changes and stuff and editing, that might all change. But as of right now, I believe it's a bit over half the story before he becomes Christian, and that's by like page count. If you're looking at pacing, it's well into pretty well into the story, like over half in pacing, which I don't know if that's a problem, if my pacing and page count don't match perfectly as far as like where you are in the story. Like, should my pacing be like, oh, you're halfway through the book in page count, so you're halfway through the story? in like in the pacing, or is it fine not to be that way? I feel like it's fine. There's a lot of stories that I've read that are like that. I don't think that that's a problem. But I'm a little self-conscious about it because it's a little weird to talk about that way. It sounds weird that the pacing and page count are different, but I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine. But, you know, if you have any thoughts on that, let me know, of course. But, that's just kind of where the book's at. If you guys have any questions on the book, I'd be happy to answer. I don't think anyone's here right now. No. No viewers. So, no one there to ask questions. So, that's that, I guess. But, you know, let me know in the comments if you do have any questions. But, yeah. So, just kind of where I'm at with the book. I'll probably make a full video on that at some point down the line. This is just kind of a overview summary, what's going on with me, what I've been doing, what's the plans. So yeah, that's a lot of like plans for my future and things that I'm doing. But what about the channel? So when I created this channel, I was pretty young. I just wanted to play Minecraft and make Minecraft videos and have fun doing it, which, you know, to a certain degree I still want to make Minecraft videos and stuff like that, but that's not my focus anymore. I want to create stories and tell stories and spread the gospel, right? Like that's my thing, is telling stories and spreading the gospel. So with that being the case, I really need to like focus, and I don't have a focus, right? I'm all over the place, and you can see that on my channel. I'm all over the place. I do this and then I do that, and so what's the channel about? Is it just, I think it's just me, right? Like, I am taking you on the journey with me on what all I'm doing, and I don't think that's a problem. But I need to recognize that that's what it is then. Because right now, it's all over the place without any sort of like sense of, oh, this is where we're going, or why is it this way? Because I've just been making videos here and there when I feel like it, without really reason. It's just, oh, I feel like doing this video, so I'm going to do it quick. And that's not a problem, but it's evident that no one is really going to pay attention to this channel if I keep that up. And I do want people to pay attention to the channel. I want to connect with people, right? That's a big part of YouTube for me, is I want to connect with people and talk with them and see what they think about what I'm doing, and just, you know, just talk, right? Like, I want to get to know people. I want to be involved in a community who enjoys entertaining people, and in a very real way. And I don't think you get that with many other platforms, but you do get that with YouTube. You also get a lot of people faking and doing all sorts of things they shouldn't, sure, but with YouTube, you can have a very real experience with your audience. You can be real with them. You can talk with them in a serious way. And also just have fun making videos for them. And that's something I definitely want to be a part of and definitely want to do. So I want to stick with YouTube. But it's not my priority. My priorities are the first two things I talked about: the pastoral and the book. Like, even this video, I'm streaming it first. I'm not making a video, even though I know that that's not ideal for YouTube, right? Because it takes time and effort to turn things like this into a video. I might still edit this stream and turn it into a video, but it's just easier this way. so I did it this way. Because YouTube's not my priority. My priority is the pastoral, it's the books. Oh, speaking of books, I didn't mention in this stream. In the meantime, while I'm waiting on this, I do want to start publishing some smaller books too. Just some quick things on Amazon for cheap, maybe a few bucks. You know, just publish something once a month, once every other month. I've had an idea for a second series, rather than my fantasy series, for like a small town mystery sort of thing. And so I'm thinking about writing that and how to write it. Because there's certain things where it's like, I don't really know where to go with, and then there's certain things I definitely know where to go with for it, and it's like a little more episodic and interesting that way, but I want to make sure that I'm not going to mess things up right in the beginning and only realize that later on and write myself into a corner when I'm reading an episodic short story series for the Amazon KDP or whatever, which I gotta do more research into that. But so I've started writing that a little bit, but I'm mostly trying to get my understanding of the story together before I'm actually planning, guys. That's something that's not normal for me. I'm very much when it comes to writing and stuff like that, a pantser. In fact, that's pretty much how I do things typically. But with so much going on in my life and me wanting to do so much, it's becoming more and more evident that as much as I'd like to just wing things and feel it out and do the next thing and go about things that way, that I really can't do that anymore. As much as that's my preferred way of doing things, I have to plan. Because if I don't plan, it's going to be a mess, because I have too much on my plate. So the future of this channel, what is it going to be? I think it's just me keeping you guys up to date on me, what I enjoy, what I'm doing with my life, and what's going on next. And yeah, a Minecraft video here and there. So is it going to look any different than what it does now? A little. Because even though it's a lot of the same types of content and it's a mix mash of content, there's a clear focus and goal in mind now. And that focus is just keeping you guys up to date with what I'm doing and showing you what I enjoy, as opposed to just, oh, I feel like this week, I feel like that week. Yeah, it's still technically that if you want to boil it down to that, but it's different now. I know what the focus of the channel is. So when I make those videos, that's what the focus is going to be on. I'm not just going to be playing Minecraft when I make a Minecraft video. I'm going to be updating you on what's going on with the book and with my pastoral stuff. And when I make a Christian video, I'm going to be making a Christian video because, well, you know why. I'm trying to spread the gospel, and it'll be more personal, because that's really what this channel is when I boil it down to what am I striving for, why am I creating such an array of content instead of focusing. It's because this channel is about connecting me with you guys, and that's the point. And I haven't done that. I haven't connected with anyone because I don't have that focus. I didn't really realize that that was my point until I sat down and thought about it. And now that I have, it feels a little foolish that I didn't realize that. And it feels a little foolish that I, for all this time, have been just creating the random content without rhyme and reason instead of creating the same mix mash of content but with the rhyme and reason and understanding of what I'm doing. that's gonna change, I think. Yeah. So, will it seem all that different? Maybe, maybe not, but there's a purpose now. And it's not that that purpose wasn't there before, but I understand the purpose now. And we'll see how that affects things, and if it affects things at all. Really, I think it will. I think it really will. This house looks awful. But, oh, for those of you who are just listening instead of watching, I'm making a Minecraft house and it looks terrible. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is, you know? This channel is not my focus. But I do want to keep doing it. And if anyone hops on along the way, if you see this 10 years down the line and see that this channel has really become something, then awesome. If not, if this channel remains nothing, that's fine. I'd love to get connected with people in a community and stuff like that, like I see with other YouTubers, but that's not my focus. That's not what the main thing I'm striving for. I have other focuses in my life. And it really is just a lot. I can't take it all on myself and say, I have to get all of this right and do all of this perfectly. I've got to manage an entire YouTube channel and be a pastor and be a full-time author. I'm already taking on full-time for 2 of these is really the goal. I want to be a full-time author and I want to be a full-time pastor. There are plenty that do that. Most pastors are bivocational because they have to be. That is, as long as they're honest and being a pastor for the right reasons, then they typically have to be bivocational. Not all of them, not always, right? But most of the time, that's the case. And if I'm going to have 2 jobs, I'd like the other one to be writing stories for people. We are running out of stories, I feel like, that are actually decent and aren't filled with terrible morals. And even the ones that aren't filled with terrible morals are typically written poorly, and the ones that are written well end up being filled with terrible morals. And there's exceptions. Yeah, there's plenty of exceptions, but we need more good stories because people get influenced so heavily by the media they watch and the books they read. I don't know. I have a passion for it. I always have had a passion for entertainment. And I've always had a passion for telling people what I think. And that's not going to change. That's a big part of who I am. And you might not disagree with, you might not agree with me, sorry, and that's fine, right? We're going to disagree on things. But this channel isn't about getting everyone to agree with me. I am telling you what I think, and if you disagree but you're okay hanging out, then awesome. I'm happy to hang out. I'm happy to connect with people who don't agree with me. I'm happy to connect with people, you know, and just start a conversation and be like, hey, you know, this is what I think. What do you think? And, you know, I mean, when I was in college, I didn't end up graduating from college. I went through a different program for pastoral ministries, which ended up being actually a lot better as far as actual learning material is concerned, because it became completely Bible focused instead of being all over the place to try and cover everything you need to cover for it to be able to be a degree, and then shifting focuses and having a focus on not the learning but the grades, which kind of sucks because you know what it's like to study for a test and then you forget everything afterwards, right? That's not a great way of learning, and I didn't like learning that way. So I studied a different way with a different program that was all about the learning and all about the understanding, which was awesome. So that's what I did. I'm sure I'm got a long road to go before being a pastor, and I'm a long road to go before being an author, but that's what I'm doing. That's my goals, and that's my focus. And it needs to be my focus. I fail at focusing on it decently often, but that's kind of on me, right? Like, I'm not trying to focus on it because I need to. I'm focusing on it because I want to. That's what how I want things to be. But, you know, things can be hard sometimes, and, you know, I've run into some things where it's like, well, I'm 22 years old and I don't drive and stuff like that, and it's just, you know, it makes things harder. But I'm learning more and more that I just need to trust Christ and put myself out there and actually do these things, because when I do it, I can accomplish it. I've seen that by completing the rough draft of my book, and I kind of forgot in chaos of things, and I need a reminder, and here I am. I'm back at it. I'm going to keep going, and I think I'll do just fine. As long as I keep trusting Christ, I'll do just fine. I'll come up across trials, and things will get hard again, sure, but I need to just keep trusting Christ that He's got me, and that no matter how hard it gets and what insurmountable things I come across, that He's got me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just get back out there. I'm going to start writing again, write some of these short stories, and get myself declared a business so I can start a Kickstarter up and pay for an editor for my main story, and keep going with studying to be a pastor. I've completed my official studies, but, you know, you never stop studying as a pastor. And, interning at my church to see what it's like to be a pastor as I'm continuing on with that, and eventually, hopefully being actually ordained, or, you know, just being given the position of elder by a church, and kind of being like, okay, yeah, you've completed what we need to see for you to be a pastor, to be an elder. You know, every church does things a little bit differently, so that's why I'm talking so vaguely about it, because it's hard to know how to talk about it when I don't know what church I'm going to end up being an elder at. It might be the church I'm currently at, when I'm currently interning at, or it might not be. But, you know, I've got a ways to go yet, and we'll see what comes of it. I know God has a plan, and I don't get to see that plan before it comes. As it is, knowing that I have a calling on my life to be a pastor as young as I am, that's a bigger peak than most people get on their own lives. Although there's, you know, that's not to say that makes it necessarily easier. I don't think it does. I think everyone wants to see what God has planned for their lives, but then if they do get to see part of it, then it ends up creating additional stress, because it's like, oh, I see what's going to happen, but how are we going to get there? We as humans have an infinite knack of creating our own problems within our minds. Or maybe this is just me. Maybe it's not everyone, but I think as humans we have a knack for creating problems in our minds, and then saying, well, why doesn't God just do this? And it's like, well, because if He did that, you'd come up with a new problem in your own mind for yourself, and that would be what you're asking Him about next. We create our own problems, you know, and it's all really centered on doubt, and we need to stop doubting and just trust God. And I'm talking largely to myself there, you know. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at and where things are with me and what I'm doing. I don't really have a whole lot else to say, frankly. It's just, yeah, just kind of playing Minecraft at this point right now, and that's not particularly productive. I'll probably continue with this world whenever I'm talking about these updates. Just kind of work on this a little here and there. This really terrible landscape and terrible house, which, I mean, it's not bad enough to just trash it. In this scope of a larger town, which I might build up, that might look better, right? But we'll see. We'll see. I might not use the same one again. I do have a map that looks terrible, by the way. It's not meant to look good. It's actually meant to be an eyesore. It's meant to be an eyesore. Let me see. I might start doing this because I created this for a friend to go through. We never ended up completing it though. And my mode, I don't know what game mode is. Spectator. There we go. And it's basically this awful labyrinth with wardens. I accidentally set them in the command box to be continuously aggressive, so, but yeah, this was like, for a separate game. Like, I have a tabletop game I play with friends, and this is kind of like a mind nightmare escape sort of thing for one of the characters. And in the tabletop game, to go through. And so yeah, that's why there's like all sorts of like nightmare and theme stuff, and like self-doubt, loss, depression, fear. Like, that's the names of the wardens, so you gotta escape the wardens, otherwise you wake up. And yeah, that's kind of like what was going on with all that, and it was playing into the story pretty well, I think, considering how far we got into it. But yeah, ooh, that house got chainmail. And I did all sorts of elaborate stuff. So I might try running through it myself, honestly, since we never finished. But yeah, this is probably going to get trashed otherwise. I've got notes for myself all over the place about like what commands are supposed to do, and I don't even remember what's half of the signs mean for notes. It's like, but yeah, and yeah, you'd think it's just this big cube, right? Like this, oh, this is big enough, this is enough of a puzzle. No, well, this is just for a map. But there's a little bit over there, and then I believe if I keep going this direction, there should be a big tower as well. There's some stuff in the nether too, which is why there's some separated stuff, and it's not coming up. Maybe there isn't a tower. Oh no, I've lost the big cube. Hold on. Yeah, everything should be within distance. Oh, wait though. I say it should be within visual distance of each other, but it's different on Linux, right? Because on Linux, you're basically playing Pocket Edition for your Bedrock Edition, whereas if you're playing... Oh no, I'm definitely losing my spot. So what's visual distance on Linux versus what's visual on Windows are two different things, which is slightly concerning because I based it on visual distance, based on the chunks that I typically played through, because I'm the only one that needs to. But yeah, this is different because it's on the... Yeah, okay. Well, I can still find it. This isn't the point. I'll probably edit out this whole section if I make it a video. But yeah. So, if you guys are interested in any of my future content, whether it's for the YouTube channel, me talking about God, or Minecraft videos, or just updating you guys, or if you want to hear more about the book, anything like that, just anything in my life that you guys are interested in, I'll talk about it here and there. Just hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. Let me know what kind of things you're interested in me talking about. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!